Hi, on this week's video, we're going to go over some special challenges on selling a vacant home. Now, if this is your first time here to my channel, go ahead and, hey, subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and ding that bell for notifications. And if you don't mind, give this video a thumbs up. And let's jump into today's topic. Now, when you're selling a vacant home, some unique challenges are come into play. Number one, let's talk about while you're still at the property before you leave. You want to make sure that when you take photos of the home, you want to take those photos while there's still furniture at the property, because photos with furniture in the home show better. And for a second reason, it's not advertising that you're selling a vacant home. Now, another thing you want to address before you put your home on the market are repairs. And I've said this time and time again on multiple occasions, on multiple videos. If you're selling your home, go ahead and proactively have your furnace cleaned and serviced before you put your home on the market. Okay, a couple of reasons. Number one, eventually it's going to get called out on the home inspection. And then number two is if it's during wintertime, you want to make sure that furnace is in tip-top working order. Okay, now let's talk about wintertime, because selling a home in wintertime, a lot of folks think, well, I'll just leave the furnace on and everything will be hunky-dory. And that's not the case. You want to have the property properly winterized before you leave. Okay, a couple of reasons. Number one, furnaces do break. Okay, case in point. I had a home a couple years ago where it was a celebrity home. It was about 2005, and the home was just a couple of years old. And they left the furnace running, and then lo and behold, the furnace broke, or the furnace quit working. Next thing you know, the pipes froze in the primary throughout the whole house, and they burst in the primary bathroom. So that meant the whole house was water damaged. You walked in the house, and then walking on the carpet, squish, 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 squish. You could see your footprints, and there was water wicked throughout the entire house. The garage ceiling was drywall, and that was on the garage floor, and there was water pouring out of the driveway, and this was a split entry home. So you want to make sure that it's properly winterized, and then the other thing you want to do is make sure that you contact your insurance company, because you may or may not have coverage with a vacant property, and your deductible may go up. So you want to have that conversation with your trusted insurance provider before you leave town. Okay, but going back to those repairs, you want to make sure that the smoke detectors, any little thing that you're aware of that eventually is going to get called out, you want to just address it before you leave. Okay, that's with repairs. Okay, the other thing you want to make sure you have in place is a good mowing plan and a good shoveling plan, because a home that is well kept is going to show better. And also for liability purposes, if you have the walks and the driveways shoveled, it's a matter of safety for agents and potential buyers who are showing your home. And the other thing too with mowing, yeah, it's easy to say, hey, we'll let it go every 2 weeks, but you want to maintain that curb appeal, so you want to keep it on a weekly basis of mowing that property. And then if you're in the fall, you don't want to overlook things like gutters. You want to make sure that the gutters are free and clear of debris, and that the downspouts are still connected, so you don't have water in the basement. Okay, let's talk about lights. Okay, if the house is vacant, you may want to get some timers and put lights on timers so it looks like the property's still occupied. And then depending on the property, I one time had a seller that what he would do is on his vacant rentals, he would always have a radio playing in the background. So that's not a bad idea. And if you have a home with a Ring doorbell system, go ahead and leave that service connected so you can maintain some surveillance on the property. Okay, a few more items, and that is neighbors. You want to make sure your neighbors are aware that you are leaving, and feel free to say to the neighbors, hey, go ahead and park your car in my driveway so it looks like somebody's at least occupying the property. And then you also want to have that communication with that neighbor to where, hey, if you see anything amiss or if somebody drops something off, will you let me know, or will you collect it so we don't have something sitting out, like 4 or 5 newspapers over the past couple of days. So that's if anybody gets the newspaper anymore. I don't know if anybody does, but anybody dropping anything off. So you want to make sure that plan is in place. And then you also want that communication going, that if you see any tree limbs fall down or anything like that, you want to be notified. Okay, and if you're listing with an agent, one of the things you want to discuss with your agent is you want to ask the agent, or you may even want to put this in your listing agreement, hey, will you drive by or will you physically go in the property at least once a week to make sure everything is still up to snuff on the inside? So you want to have that discussion with your agent when you list the home on the multiple listing service. All right, depending on your location, you may want to have this discussion with your real estate professional. And that is, do I or do I not want a yard sign? Because sometimes if you have a yard sign in some certain neighborhoods, it's advertising, hey, come steal my copper and my AC unit. I one time had a seller that had the AC unit in back stolen. And I've had sellers also have all the copper piping stolen out of the house. So you may or may not want to put a yard sign when you're selling a vacant property. That's a discussion you want to have. Okay, let's talk one more time a little bit about the furnace and AC. Now, it's real tempting to say, hey, nope, the property's going to be vacant. I'm going to crank the heat way down in the wintertime, and I'm going to crank the temperature way up in the summertime. If you're selling that property, you want those buyers, when they go in that home, to feel comfortable. So it's a good idea to keep the heat at a comfortable level, and the same thing goes with the AC. You want to make sure those buyers in that summertime feel comfortable when they're showing that property. So you might want to consider that before you crank down that heat and you crank up that AC. All right, there you have it. Those are some tips for when you're selling a vacant property. If you have any questions or any other comments that you can think of that would help a potential seller selling a vacant property, go ahead and leave those comments below. And while you're at it down there, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel. Thanks, and make it a great day.